Hello everyone, Victor Tanzik here, and welcome to Greetings and Salutations. So, here I am in the flesh, as it were. I've decided to appear to you guys as something a little bit more substantial than a disembodied voice in order to explain to you what's going on with the channel. I'm sure it hasn't escaped anyone's notice there's been an appalling lack of content on it recently. I think it's 2 or 3 videos in just as many months, which is, terrible as far as I'm concerned. I'm not happy with it in the slightest, and I'm sure some of you may be a bit annoyed too. So, I may as well explain to you what's going on. Well, I'm afraid there's no big secret. It's, mostly my job and other real-life concerns. Not very satisfying, I know. In fact, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you'll know I've used that excuse time and time again. But, yeah, I'm afraid it's all I've got. So, but you know what, I'll actually go into a little bit more detail there. Okay, so the company I work for here in Australia was one of the few major retailers that didn't actually shut down during the height of the COVID crisis. And I say height of because at the time of this video, the number of cases has plummeted, so restrictions have been eased up dramatically, which is fantastic news, don't get me wrong, and fingers crossed it remains that way. But during the peak of the restrictions, we naturally experienced a dramatic drop in in-store traffic, so as people obviously didn't want to leave their homes and risk becoming infected. But we had a dramatic surge in online sales, and as someone who works in the logistics department, it's my responsibility to process these online orders. And just to give you guys some ideas, before this whole COVID thing, we were lucky to get pick lists of maybe 100 items, whereas at the height of this whole thing, we were getting upwards of 1,200 items, which was insane. Like, we never expected to get that kind of traffic, which is good. Don't get me wrong. It's very, very good, actually, because it keeps the company running, which is terrific. And on that note, actually, I'm actually quite glad that our company didn't close down, because I think I probably would have gone absolutely insane being forced to knock around the house for a couple of weeks, even if it did give me a chance to make substantial progress on my videos and season 4. So yeah, I'm actually incredibly grateful of that we did stay open. But yeah, with the online order side of things, it's just so terribly tedious and very, very arduous. I won't bore you with the details, but just suffice to say, more often than not, I'm coming home absolutely exhausted, and my brain's just like completely fried because it's just so monotonous what I have to do with online orders. And not to mention that as logistics supervisor, it's my responsibility to also make sure that everything else in my department is running smoothly, which also is very taxing in its own right, even before this whole pandemic thing. So yeah, I'm afraid that's all I've got to say about that. It's just, yeah, it's just messing with my head, really. And but also other things too, like you may have noticed in one of my Sodor shorts recently, I made reference to I was having story problems with season 4. Well, I kind of still am, or I should say maybe was. I think I might have finally sorted it out, but who knows? Maybe that'll change the next time I do an episode. As to how many episodes I've actually gotten made, it's 3. Yeah, it's absolutely abysmal. I'm not happy with that. But yeah, that's all I can really say about that. Yeah, I think that's really, really it. So yeah, I still have no idea when season 4 is going to be made, or even how many episodes I'm going to make in it. And I'm kind of reluctant to actually just release the episodes I've already made, because I'm worried that there could potentially be weeks or even months of gaps in between them, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I prefer to make up enough episodes so that there's a weekly release schedule so you guys know what to expect and when to expect. But there is something, though. In my April Fool's Day sketch, I made reference to a pinned comment, and the content and the video gave heavy implications that if you clicked on it, you would be rickrolled, and that it wasn't actually a link to the first episode of season 4. Well, I'll let you in on a secret. It wasn't actually a joke. It was actually the link to the first episode of season season 4 of Stories of Sodor. I'll put a link in the description if you guys want to go watch it. I'm actually quite happy with it, and the few people who did click on the link appear to be happy too, but sound off when you watch it and let me know if it is any good or if it needs improvement. Alright, so I think that's all I've got to say about that. Yeah, that's really all I've got to say, except, no, there's one final thing though. Can I just say how dramatically the world has changed since my last Greens and Salutations video? I mean, back then I don't think COVID was anywhere near the problem that it is now, and we certainly didn't have riots going on elsewhere. So, yeah, it's tremendous how things can change in such a short amount of time. It really is. Okay, so that's enough of that tangent. All right, so I suppose the question I'll pose to you guys, which is probably a very obvious one, which is, how have you been coping with COVID? So, yeah, sound off how you've been handling it in the comments below. I look forward to reading your responses, and yeah, I'll end it there with one final note, and that is to say, all lives matter. They really do. So, thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.